all about opening up space for our breath. I know we're in a time that we're pretty like anxious and stressed, and whenever I'm anxious or stressed, I feel myself breathing in the upper half of my body. And so through our practice today, we're going to open up the upper back, the chest, and the sides of the body, as well as the rest, like hips and stuff. So we're going to get started on our backs. Setting up as if you're going into a bridge. So feet are going to be hip width apart. And then bring your arms out into a T position. So you're expanding across the chest wall. If it feels okay, you can even bend the elbows, and that might give you a little bit more of a pull on the chest. When you're ready, press into the feet to lift the hips up just a little bit off the mat to get the glutes firing. Notice if the chin is jetting towards the sky, try and pull it down towards the throat. Not like you're tucking it, but just keeping the length in the cervical spine of the neck. And so we're lifting into this bridge to get the glutes firing, but then you're also getting the chest wall. So as you're here, just notice your breath. Not judging or critiquing, just being aware of how it's moving and where you're breathing. I'll stay in your bridge for another moment and take the hands up to the sky. Spread your right fingers really wide and pull back on them using your left hand, so stretching out your wrist. You can leave that towards the ceiling or take it overhead. And then as you do, maybe you lengthen a little bit more through the side of your body, especially the right side. Reach it back to the ceiling and switch hands. So take hold of your left fingers, pulling back using your right hand. Keep it towards the ceiling or reach it up and over the head. Maybe lengthening in the left side a little bit more. Notice your inhale, your exhale. Now reach it up to the sky and then roll through your wrists as you lower your hips down and lower your hands all the way down. Now, if you have a block or something to place in between the legs, we're gonna take it there. You don't have to, so it's not necessary. It's just nice to have the feedback if you have something. So taking that object in between the legs if you have it. Okay, and then bring your knees right over the hip points and flex your feet forward. Hands come behind the head. Elbows lead up to the sky. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, lift your shoulder blades off the mat. And so if you take a look down, we don't want the center lifting. Those are superficial muscles. So make sure that the center is staying down and you're pulling from the sides in. So deep core layers. So pull the front ribs towards one another and think about your hip points moving towards one another. So again, really deep in the abdominals. Inhale and lower, exhale and lift. Okay, so this is really important for establishing a strong core for your movement practice. Now, as you're up, let the elbows go out a little bit wider than where they are, about halfway from where you, like halfway of the range you can. And then lift up a little bit more. Now, elbows come back in, inhale to lower, exhale and lift. Check out the front line, pull in, and the elbows go wide. Now, the left arm is gonna reach out at the diagonal that it's at. So just take the left arm straight out at that diagonal, and then bring it back behind the head. Elbows lead up towards the sky as you lift a little bit more, and inhale to lower. Exhale and lift. Elbows go out a little bit, and then the right arm reaches out from the diagonal that it's at. And when you reach, feel if the shoulder blade drops back to the ground. Try and lift it up, because this is going to work those external obliques Then hand comes behind the head, elbows lead up as you lift up a little bit more, and then inhale to lower. Exhale and lift. Shoulder blades lift off the mat. Elbows go out wide, left arm reaches. You're gonna add a turn to the left, and this is when the left shoulder blade's really gonna wanna drop down. Try and keep it lifted off the mat. That's the challenge. Bring yourself back through center, hand behind the head. Inhale to lower, exhale and lift. Elbows go out wide, right arm reaches. Take your turn towards the right and try and lift the right shoulder blade off the ground. This is where the hard work is. Keep lifting. Hand comes behind the head as you come back through center. Inhale to lower. It's our last one. Exhale and lift. Elbows go out wide, left arm reaches first and then turn to the left. Now you have an option to take the right arm and reach it past your left leg and keep lifting. So you'll feel the demand on the core. Hand comes behind the head, left hand comes behind the head. Lift up a little bit more through center and lower down. Exhale and lift. Last one. Elbows go out wide. Right arm reaches. Take your small turn to the right. Hold here or reach the left arm as well and keep lifting up, lifting those shoulder blades, but keep the front ribs pulling in towards one another. And left hand comes behind the head, right hand comes behind the head, and inhale to lower. All right, set your feet down. Take your block or prop out from the center and then wiggle the feet about mat distance apart. Let the knees go to the left. Reach your right arm up towards the back of the room. So it's going to reach to the sky and then up past your right ear. And then take the wrist and give it a nice pull up. So you're creating space on the right side. Think about pressing through the inner arch of your right foot and engaging your right glute. It's going to bring your right hip into more extension. Knees come back to the sky. They go to the right. Left arm reaches up overhead. Take hold of that left wrist and give it a nice pull using your right hand. Press the inner arch of your left foot into the mat and the left glute is firing. Bring the knees back to the sky. Hands come back to the sky and then they come next to you. One more thing of abdominals here. Again, if you have that block, take it in between the legs. You don't have to have it. It's okay if you don't. Hands come behind the head. Elbows lead up to the sky. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, lift the shoulder blades off the mat. This time the feet are gonna stay on the ground. Now, as we're lifted, lift the left arm towards the ceiling. And from that movement, think about it originating at the shoulder blade. So you're gonna feel the left shoulder blade protract, and that means move away from the center of the spine as you reach up. And then bring it behind the head. Inhale to lower, exhale and lift. Right arm now reaches, protract the shoulder blade. So you should feel the movement on the back, right? Really lift from that right side. Then hand comes behind the head. Inhale to lower, exhale and lift. Left arm reaches to protract. And now lift your feet to hover off the ground. So with or without the prop, just lift them to hover, but keep that front body pulling in. And then hand comes behind the head, feet lower. Inhale to lower, exhale and lift. Right arm reaches, protract first, and then the feet hover. Lift up a little bit more if you can. Hand comes behind the head, lower the feet and lower down. Exhale and lift. Left arm reaches, lift your feet to hover. Then we'll add the turn here. So you're gonna turn to the right, left arm comes across over to the right leg. Lift up a little bit more, and then bring it back through center, feet lower. Inhale to lower, last one, exhale and lift. Protract by reaching the shoulder blade, by reaching the right arm up, lift your feet to hover. Take your small turn to the right, to the left, so that the right arm reaches across the body. Lift up a little bit more if you can. And then reach the right arm up, bring it behind the head, lower the feet down and lower. And set the block off to the side. You can rock forward and back or roll to your side so that we can come forward into table. So coming on to hands and knees here. Checking that the wrists are right underneath your shoulders and the knees are underneath your hips. Reach your left arm out into a T position, straight out from the shoulder. Bend the elbow and bring the hand either behind the head or right next to. So it can be behind as long as it's not going to push your head down, or it could be next to if you need to for the shoulder. Press firmly into the right hand so that we're not collapsing. And then reach your left elbow to the sky. So you're moving through your upper spine. And then bring your left elbow back towards the ground. So creating this rotation through the upper body. And this is often, right, where we feel a lot of stiffness and tightness, like you're stuck. So we're really getting into that space here. Take it one more time, lead the elbow up to the sky, and then maybe you reach the arm up. And bring the left hand back down. Feel the difference, maybe take a little wiggle. Feel the difference from side to side. And then the right arm reaches out, bend the elbow. Hand can come behind the head so that you can press your head back towards your hand, or it can come right next to you. Elbow leads up towards the ceiling, and then bring it all the way back down towards the ground. Reach it up and bring it back down. And the whole time you're firmly pressing into the left hand that's on the ground, and you're keeping the front body engaged. So like you're pulling the front ribs towards one another. Last two here. And then reach it up, reach through maybe the right arm, and your head can relax if that feels okay for the neck. Bring the right hand down. All right, so now we're going to move in the upper body, taking cat-cows just in your thoracic spine. So this might be challenging, but you got this, okay? So just think about letting your chest come towards the ground and then press the ground away so that you could round through the upper back. So we're moving our shoulder blades, but if it helps for you to think about the spine or the upper back, then just think about the chest going towards the ground and then upper back towards the sky. And then as you get used to the movement, notice that the shoulder blades are coming towards one another, retraction, and then feel the shoulder blades move apart from one another, protraction. This is very helpful because a lot of us lack mobility in our shoulder blades, and that's why we have a lot of tightness where we do in this upper body, in the upper back. Okay, take it once, twice more. And then lowering to your forearms. So now we're gonna load the scapular, the shoulder blades more in that thoracic spine by bearing more weight into it. The hands can stay parallel, or you can bring the hands together, interlacing the fingers. Curl your toes under, allow your head to relax when the neck releases, and then lift up your hips for dolphin. You can have the knees bent a lot or a little bit, but pull in the front of your body and bring it towards the back. Like, so you're pulling in the front so much that you're feeling the space in the back. And that's what we want in our dolphin and our down dog, to really create length in the spine. Dolphin is wonderful because it's building the proximal stability for the shoulders here. So proximal meaning close to torso. Take two more big breaths. And then lower the knees down and come to stand at the front of the mat. So walking yourself forward, finding the front of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. So hips go back, bend the knees. Bring your fingertips down and step the right foot back. We're gonna lower the right knee and come to the top of the foot. So you're pressing the top of the foot down, if that feels okay for your foot. Inhale, reach your arms forward and up. We want to establish that neutral pelvis. So right glute is on, and you're pulling yourself back over the right knee. Hands come down. Step back into your plank, lower the knees, and then check here, shoulders right over the wrist. Notice if your pelvis is going back, like if the bottom's going back and the top's coming forward, that would be an anterior tilt. We still want to hold neutral, so think about glutes really firing, and then lower all the way down. Pull yourself forward, so plant the hands and pull the chest through the hands, finding your cobra. Now lift up around the navel in the front of the body, curl the toes under, plank back to your down dog. Right foot steps forward, the left knee lowers, untuck the toes here in the top of the foot. Inhale, reach your arms forward and up. You can think about planting your right heel and pulling it back towards you to give yourself a little more stability. Hands come down, step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Fingertips plant, left foot steps back this time, left knee lowers. Keep the toes tucked, and we're gonna reach the arms forward first, and then out into a T position. And then reach the fingertips forward and bring the arms out. So as we bring it out, notice if you're thrusting your chest forward. We want to keep that control in the front line of the body. And then bring the fingertips together in front of you. So this is a really good move again for the upper back. You bring the fingertips, curl them in. So all the way so that the knuckles come towards one another, and then bring your fist towards your chest. It's gonna feel a little bit funny at first, but now it's like you're punching into the chest. Push as much as you can so that you're rounding through that thoracic spine, but at the same time, keep pulling and lifting up. So then you can get basically like a 2-for-1, left hip and the upper back. The chin can tuck in too. And then reach it out, open, arms reach up, hands come down, step it back into plank. Lower the knees, neutral pelvis as you lower. Pull forward for your cobra, exhale for your down dog. Left foot steps forward, the right knee lowers, and then inhale, reach forward. Bring them out into that T position, expanding across the chest, and then bring them in front. So when we're reaching, don't think not only about the arms, but about your shoulder blades retracting or pulling together. And then when you reach forward, protract. And that's why it's important for everything else to be neutral, strong, and stable so that you can really move through the shoulder blades here, creating that change. Now bring the fingertips together in front of you and then start to curl them in. So bringing them all the way so that the knuckles come together, and then bring it into the chest. Elbows stay bent as you press in. You can allow as well. Really reach the elbows forward so that you can leverage pressing in towards your chest. Open back up, arms out into that T position, reach up, hands come down as we step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. All right, so first sequence here, we're gonna step the right foot back, lower the right knee down, and come up with the fist in front of you. So now just creating the knuckles together, fists come together, and now turn to the left and come back through center. Turn to the left and back through center. You can think here, planting that left heel, pulling it back towards you as you create this rotation. Take it one more time. And then come back through center, hands plant, and the left leg goes to a 3-legged down dog. So we're creating this upside down V with the hands and the right foot. So think about pulling in the front line and lifting up, continue to lift up through the right hip. And yes, the left leg is lifted, okay? Now, bend your left knee, create an external rotation in the left hip. So that means just the thigh is gonna move towards the left. So pelvis doesn't change, just external rotation at the hip joint. So you might start to feel the outer left glute talking to you. Pull yourself forward for plank and take the left leg into internal rotation. So you're gonna spin the front of the thigh towards the right, heel to the left. So this is good hip mobility to work here. Reach up, external rotation. So you're in a three-legged down dog, external rotation. Keep lifting up at the right hip. And then bring it forward, internal rotation in your plank. Reach up, external rotation, and bring it forward, internal rotation. One more. And bring it forward. Set the left knee down. We're headed towards a modified side plank. So left hand under your left shoulder, and then reach the right elbow up. So like you're like pulling up on a lawnmower, and you start to reach the right elbow towards the sky. Spin your right foot towards the back of the room, right knee towards the back of the room. So this is gonna help create that space in the whole right side. So like you're pulling up on a lawnmower, right elbow reaches up, right outside of the body lifting to the sky. So right toes and right knee towards the back of the mat. Take a couple more breaths. Head can hang heavy so that the neck releases. And then bring your right hand down, walk it to the side of the mat. We're gonna turn to the back of the mat and bring your right forearm to your right thigh. Swivel so that the left foot is back towards the front of the room and lift up for a warrior variation. So it's like extended side angle. So right toes towards the back of the mat, left toes towards the side. Your right forearm is on your right thigh, and then the left arm can either reach towards the sky or reach it up and over your ear. Pull in the front body and lift up through the left side so you're creating even more space for your breath and for reaching into that lateral line. Coming up into goddess from here, lead with the left arm, pivot the toes as you need to, and then sink down. Now, we're trying to pull in the front body again so that we can create that neutral pelvis here. Now, rolling through the shoulders. So we're going to take it one at a time, really working those shoulder blades, lifting and rolling it back and down, alternating from side to side. And you can go faster if you want to generate a little bit more heat, although the legs are getting it here too. There's a couple more each side. Good, and then come back to the back of the mat for a twisted lunge. So you're gonna turn the feet, right toes towards the back of the mat, bringing the left hand down and the right arm reaches up. Left hand under your left shoulder, right arm reaches to the sky. Bring your left knee down and start to walk your right foot towards the right. You're gonna leave it so that it's in line with the left knee. I can show you guys from the side. Right foot in line with the left knee, and the left hand is in line with the left shoulder. Now reach your right arm to the sky and reach it forward. So again, really nice for that side, upper back, low back. This can even get into that QL. Take a big inhale and exhale. Now find your table. So right hand comes down, right knee comes down, cat, cow here. Feel the difference in the sides of the body. And then curl your toes under, lift up for your down dog. Slowly walk the feet forward for that forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale, reach your, so at the back of the mat, I mean. Inhale, reach your arms forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. So we're facing the back of the mat. Step your left foot back. The left knee lowers. Come up into your low lunge. Bring the fist together. So we're on that second side. Fists come together. Establish neutral. And then turn to the right. using your thoracic spine, and then come back through center. You can press the knuckles towards one another to help create that tension that you need. So turn, and we're pulling everything in order to create this twist. Last couple here. Come back through center, hands plant, and the right leg goes to a three-legged down dog. So plant the hands right under the shoulders, right leg, three-legged down dog. Check that the right toes and the right front thigh is towards the ground and lift up through the left hip point. So you're creating even more on that left leg, more lift. The left knee can be bent. And now we'll bend the right knee and just rotating at the thigh. So it just goes slightly to the right. The pelvis doesn't change, just at your hip joint. So again, just the femur bone moving inside the pelvis. External rotation here. Bring it forward and take it into internal rotation. So you're in plank, spin the front of the thigh to the left, foot to the right. External rotation in your three-legged down dog, then internal rotation in your plank. You can go as fast or as slow as you would like. When you come forward, make sure the back of the head is lifted so that it's in line with the shoulder blades. So we're not dropping the head forward, putting more demand on that cervical spine. Last one here. Bring it forward, and it's that variation on modified side plank. So right knee lowers, right hand under your right shoulder. Lift the left elbow to the sky, and then start to spin so that the left toes and the left knee is towards the front of your mat. Lift up through the left side. You can allow the head to release, because this is a really nice release for the neck if you pull up with that left elbow and allow the head to release here. Make sure the pelvis isn't sinking back. We're adding that demand on the right hip by pressing into the right knee and right glute. Bring your left hand down, walk it towards the side of the mat. We're coming to warrior variation towards the front, so on the left foot. So we let the right toes come down, straighten the right leg, lift it off the mat, the right knee, and then bring your left forearm to your left thigh as the right arm reaches towards the front of the room. So it's like your warrior 2 feet, but then we're taking it extended, reaching it forward. Big breath here. Coming up to your goddess. So come all the way up, pivot the toes, sink down and roll through the shoulders. Feel your scapula moving on the back. And this is where we generate a little bit more heat because there's more demand for the body. So pull in the front ribs, go as low as you'd like. It doesn't mean you have to be super low. You might be up here. And check that the knees and the toes are in one line. So the hips are a little bit more restricted on external rotation. Bring the toes in a little bit more. Last one, 2. And then front of the mat, low runner's twist. We're gonna bring the right hand down, right under your right shoulder, left arm lifts to the sky. Right glute is on here. So we're still pulling in, pulling the front ribs together to create that movement through the thoracic spine. Head can release if that feels okay for the neck. Big inhale. On your exhale, lower the right knee. Start to walk the left foot towards the left. So the left foot lines up with your right knee. And then reach your left arm forward. Lift up through the left side of your body. So really press into the right hand and feel the right shoulder blade on the back. So from a different view, left foot, right knee in line, create extension, or that lateral flexion rather, through that left arm reaching forward. Bringing it to your table. So hand comes down, knee comes down, cat, cow here. Moving the whole spine. Feel the shoulder blades move, feel the pelvis move, and everything in between. From here, curl your toes under, lift up for your down dog. Walk the feet forward or hop if you'd like to, finding that forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale, reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands plant right under the shoulders. Step the right foot back, followed by the left. Find your plank. You can take a regular flow or lower to the knees first. Find your cobra or your up dog. Exhale to your down dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. So there's still that co-activation of your core. Bend the knees as you need to. Hands plant under the shoulders. Step or hop back into plank. Wrists stay right under the shoulders. Lower the knees if you'd like to, or lower in one piece. Cobra, up dog, back bend of your choice. And lift up to your down dog. Step the feet slightly closer to the hands. And then sweep the left leg up. So we're coming into a three-legged down dog. Think about lifting from the inner thigh of your left leg. Okay, and then again, like we worked earlier, lift up through the right hip point. Now stepping the left foot forward, coming up into a warrior one. We're gonna check that the feet are on separate lines so that the feet are in the same line as the hip points, and then we reach the arms up. Again, we want that neutral pelvis, so you might not be super deep, because when we lose neutral here, we're losing that connection to our core and the ability for mobility elsewhere. So keep pulling in. You might even lift up the right back heel so that you can find neutral. Once you're here, reach the left hand behind the back. So it's gonna come to the sacrum, and the right arm stays reaching up towards the sky to create that nice lift through the right side. Use the hand on the back for feedback. So pull the belly in. Everything pulls in towards your left hand that's on your sacrum. Reach forward, hinging at the hip. So pelvis comes with you, which is nice to have that hand there for feedback. And then gently bring both hands forward. And this is a nice little move here. You're gonna grab the edges of the mat. So it's all for that upper back. You're literally grabbing the edge of your mat and then pulling it apart with the hands. Like pull it apart and try and bring your, a little more length for your chest, for your spine. And then maybe the hands walk even further forward. You do the same thing. Pull it apart. You're filling the upper back. Take one more breath. Breathe into the space where you feel it. So ribs, upper back. All right, now walk the hands back towards you. Find your warrior twist. Right hand is down, left arm is high. Now go in the opposite direction, option for half moon. So the left hand comes down and you reach the right arm up, or left hand comes forward and you reach the right arm up and the right leg. Okay, find your half moon, or your right foot could be down, so it could be this variation. Keep pulling in the front line of your body, and then maybe that right arm reaches towards the front of the room. Press strong through the heel if the right foot is lifted. And allow your neck to relinquish that control. So gaze can stay down. It's nicer for the neck here. Warrior two. So set your right foot down. Warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Right hand anywhere on the back leg. Left arm reaches to the sky. Lift up through the left ribs. Left shoulder blade lifts. And then come back to that twisted lunge with the right hand down, left arm high. So this is the fun part. We're gonna turn all the way to the back of the mat. So bend your right knee and bring your right knee down. Lower to the outer right hip and spin to the back of the mat. Yay. Good, okay. Now fingers can be towards your toes, or they can be to the sides of the mat or behind you, whatever feels best for your wrists. We're gonna lift and lower here. We would like the glutes to be firing so that we're not dumping into the back. So we don't want to feel this in the low back. We want the glutes to be firing so that we can have that neutral pelvis when we lift. And then really lift up through the chest. Now we have an option here to change it into a dancer's table, and all the difference is going into one hand and adjusting so that the fingertips are towards the front of the mat. So you're gonna lower the hips, spin the left fingers towards the front of the mat, the right arm lifts as the hips lift. And so we'll alternate. It's so nice for the front of the body, the chest, the side. Alternate, right fingertips towards the front, lift up, left arm reaches. Remember, glutes firing here for that extension through the back. Now bringing the right hand down, lift up, and then lower and bring your left hand down, but start to spin so that we're headed towards our down dog, crossing the legs. So right hand comes down, both hands down, crossing at the ankles or the calves. So you're in a cross-legged down dog. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Maybe you shimmy a little bit through the ribs. We're gonna walk it forward and continue that cross. So bring the right leg in front of the left, left in front of the right, right in front of the left, left in front of the right. Now end so that the left leg is in front of the right. Left in front of the right. Bend the knees as much as you need to. You can even be up on the fingertips and fold. Now ground firmly into your left leg and bring the right leg up. So you're going to ground into the left and bring the right knee all the way forward, finding your stork, arms reach to the sky. Cross the right over the left and then bring your arms out into a T. Bring the left underneath the right, finding either a bear hug or eagle arms, and sink into your eagle. Doesn't have to be a big movement. You can just hold here and work towards crossing or even leaving the toes down. Chin can curl towards the chest as you reach the elbows forward. One more breath. And then come all the way up to stand. So release the feet, reach the arms up, inhale. Exhale, hinge to fold. We'll meet back in down dog. So plant the hands under the shoulders. You can step back in a plank and take a flow, or you can just hold your plank for a moment and then lift up for your down dog. Okay, firmly plant the feet. So they might step a little bit closer to the hands. Pull in the front body. You might have a slight bend in the knees. Finding this really strong down dog here. Again, we're not collapsing in the chest, okay? Because then we're overstretching the ligaments in the shoulders. So keep pulling up in the front. Now, grounding into your left leg, lift the right leg up. Think about lifting from the inner thigh of the right so that we're not hiking the pelvis, we're keeping it neutral. In order, we do that here for strength, for stability. Now stepping your right foot forward or coming up into a warrior one. So adjust the feet as you need to. They're on separate planes as you come up. You can even take the hands on the pelvis here to feel it out, to pull those towards one another so that you can hug in. So back of the head, shoulder blades, and sacrum all in one line as you find your warrior one. Now the right hand comes behind you to your sacrum and the left arm reaches up to the sky. Lift through the left side of your body, creating that space there. Use the hand on the sacrum for feedback. So start to hinge at your hip. Okay, so that means that with the hand there, you're still pulling in towards that hand as you create hip flexion and lean forward. Okay, now bring the left hand down and the right hand down and grab the outsides of the mat. And so this might be where you lift up on the back toes, on the ball of the foot if you haven't yet, and then pull your mat apart. And you might get more out of it by reaching further forward. Pull the mat apart. Keep the length in the spine and feel that action around the shoulder. And wherever you feel it, breathe space into it. So we're getting into some fascia that wraps the muscles. Take 2 more deep breaths. And then start to walk the hands back towards you. Left hand under your left shoulder, right arm reaches to the sky, twisting through your torso. Changing directions will bring the right hand down. Left arm lifts, half moon or this warrior variation. So if you want to go for your half moon, right hand comes ahead of your right foot, left arm lifts, left leg lifts. Pull in. You can even take your left hand and feel around your body, pulling the front ribs, checking that you have that action happening in your core. Maybe the left arm reaches towards the front of the room, creating that extension in the left side. Step it back for your warrior 2. So both feet plant, come up. Check that the shoulders are over the pelvis. Again, neck can be neutral here, so you can just be gazing towards the side of the room. Reverse your warrior. Lift up through the right. Lift the ribs, lift the scapula on the right side. Coming back into that low runner's twist. So hands windmill down, left hand comes down. Start to bring the left knee down and turn to the back of the mat. So you're gonna spin all the way. Set yourself up so fingertips towards the toes, side or back behind you, and lift. So we'll just do 3 here in this reverse table, and then start alternating your dancer. So bring the hips down, adjust the fingers if you need to, and lift up. So again, really nice, creating that extension in the back line to help create space and strength. Now I have to remember which way we went. So, all right. Okay, take it one more time to the left. So left hand comes down, right arm reaches up. And then now when we come down to the right, we're gonna turn. So lower the hips, start to spin to the right, down dog with the right leg in front of the left. Breathe, so pull in the front line towards the back, and then we'll walk it forward. Cross the left in front of the right, right in front of the left. Take your time and bend the knees as you need, and maybe even as you get a little further forward, if bending the knees all the way isn't enough, you can come up onto the fingertips. But try to bend the knees first before you change the weight in the hands. And then we'll end up with the left in front of the right. Now coming up into stork, load the right leg and lift the left. Arms reach up, cross the left over the right, and then arms out into a T position. Right under left, eagle arms or your bear hug. Take your time to arrive and pull the front body in. Maybe you sink a little bit more, but when you sink, we're not letting the knees come forward. That's really easy to let happen. Instead, hip flexion, so pull back, hips go back. Come all the way up to stand, release the arms, reach up, exhale, hinge at the hips. So hips go back, bend the knees, plant the hands. If you want to take a flow, you can. Step it back into plank and hold it if you skip that flow. Back of the head, shoulder blades, sacrum all in one line. Then lift the hips up, find your down dog. Remember, peak of the pose is the hips, so can you pull in a little bit more and lift up to create that length, maybe even wiggling a little bit from side to side. Wiggle, now wiggle the feet out about mat distance apart, and spin your heels to the right. So you'll feel more of a pull on that left lateral line. So once the heels spin to the right, lift up more through the left outside of the hip. And now bring the heels to the sky and switch. So heels go to the left, toes to the right, lift the right outer hip. Breathe into the whole lateral line on the right side of the body. One more full inhale. Exhale. Hips and heels lift. Bend the knees and bring yourself forward into table. Take these last couple rounds of cat-cow here. Okay, now reaching your right fingertips forward. So just reaching them towards the front of the mat. Fingertips are on the mat. Thread the left arm underneath you so that you're coming into this threaded needle. Right arm stays forward. And now you can stay here, or if you'd like to, you can take your right foot over to the right. Just extending the leg to the side of the mat. Lift your breath into the back and the right side to help open up the fascia there. Now bring your right hand back and you're going to press into it to lift up, but come up so that the wrists are under the shoulders. And now if you didn't have the leg extended, extend it now so that the right heel and left knee are in line. And then sit back a little bit more. So hips go back a little bit more. And then we're going to lower to the forearms. Find that mobility through your shoulder blades. So the shoulder blades pull together and then apart, moving in your upper back. Just finding as much range of motion as you can on the forearms. You'll notice that it's a little more challenging here. And so again, it's a 2-for-1. So shoulders and inner thigh, hip, low back. So multiple for one. All right, and then press up to the hands. Bring your right knee underneath your right hip. Full cat-cow here with the whole spine, whole body. And we will switch sides. Okay, so reach your left fingertips forward. Thread the right arm underneath so that you're coming onto the right shoulder. Walk the left hand a little bit further forward if you'd like to. And then maybe the left leg reaches out to the side. You don't have to, and you can also do that in a moment. Lift up into the left side, breathe into the upper back. Where you feel the pose, breathe space into it to change the tissues of the body. Just a couple more full breaths here. And now bringing your left hand under your shoulder, push up using that hand, and then bringing both hands under the shoulders. Extend the left leg if you haven't already so that the foot is in line with the knee, and then lower to the forearms so the forearms are right under your shoulders. Cat-cow here with the upper back. See if you can limit the movement so that it's, limit it to the upper back. So not limit it so it's small. There's a limit where it's happening. And you're sitting back if you need a little bit more here for that adductor or your inner thigh of the left leg. With the sole of the foot down on that left, you might get into the peritoneals and the outer ankle towards the foot, outer outside of the lower part of the leg here too. Okay, then coming up to the hands and then bringing your left knee under your left hip. Cat-cow here. Pick a side for your feet to swivel towards as we lower to the back. We're gonna bring the feet so that they're hip width apart. Lower down first. And now interlace your fingers. So as if you were going to a bridge, but we're not because we did enough of those. Interlace the fingers. Now press your knuckles up to the sky and think about reaching and protracting the shoulder blades as much as you can. Now, at the upper back, think about pressing that down. So this is a wonderful move for that thoracic spine. So you're reaching the knuckles to the sky and then pressing down at the upper back. Helping to free that movement, that fascia there. Rather, take a couple breaths, really protract, press down. So you're protracting, moving the shoulder blades towards the sky, but in between the shoulder blades, you're pressing that area down into the mat. And then, release. Okay. Now we're gonna bring the left leg up to the sky and left ankle comes on top of your right thigh to pull it in towards you for a figure four. Just a few full breaths here. You can hold it or rock from side to side. But feel the space in the sides of the body and keep that length happening. Feel the back ribs settle on the mat. And the same thing in the back of the head. So it feels heavy. We're not jetting the chin towards the sky. Set the right foot down. Left leg reaches up. Roll through the left ankle and reverse. Set the left foot down. Right leg reaches up. Bend your right knee so the right ankle comes on top of your left thigh. Pull it in towards you. You can stay still or rock it. On your exhales, feel the settling in the torso. Feel the change in your breath from the beginning of your practice to now. Set your left foot down, reach the right leg to the sky, roll through your right ankle, both directions. And then set the right foot down. One last thing before Shavasana, spread the feet a little bit wider than where they are and allow the knees to come towards one another. Feel the sacrum, so the base of the spine, settle into the mat. And this is really nice. It's a slight internal rotation of the hips, really nice for that pelvis to settle, sacrum, the space around the sacrum to relax. Take a full inhale, maybe sigh it out of your mouth. You might choose to stay here for your Shavasana, or you might wiggle the feet so that they're in neutral and then extend the legs forward. If you have a wall and you want to go for legs up the wall, feel free to find yourself there. Take our last breath together as you arrive in your position. Full inhale and let it go on your exhale. Feel the freedom and the space in your body. And the strength that you utilized to get to that space. Now giving yourself a few moments to pause, to just be, to let go. Shavasana. If you have the ability to stay longer, please do. Take a full breath in. Release it out. Feel the freedom, the space that you created through the movements that you took. Wiggle the fingers, the toes, perhaps wrist circles, ankle circles, maybe a full body stretch. Start to walk the feet in towards your hips, where you can stay or roll to your side. Pause for just a moment to say thank you to yourself for this time on your mat, for you. And then coming up into a seated position, bringing our hands together in front of us with our eyes closed. Remembering that what we do on our mat, we can take with us. So creating this space for our breath, this space for our body by utilizing our strength. I thank each one of you for allowing me to guide you today in your practice. We bow to ourselves and to one another. Namaste.